All right, welcome back to Hour 2. Appreciate y'all making us part of your day. And feel free to share us on social media, everything. There's many people that don't even know this is in podcast form. I'm getting YouTube messages from that saying, hey, like, didn't know this was on podcast. So you guys make sure you can actually scan the QR code in the upper right if you're watching on YouTube. That'll send you to Packernet podcast where you can find this channel this podcast on that network. So make sure you go check that out and subscribe and all that good stuff. Ryan puts content out daily. I put content out daily, obviously. And we got you covered all the way through the year, 365 days a year. There will be a podcast or 2 or 3 or 4 uploaded on that every day. So Josh Martin with the Super Chat. Sorry for the delay, man. He says, I'm not surprised we're sticking with Stokes. We stuck with Amari Rodgers as a fumbling punt returner for 3 years. Myers is a bust too. So the thing with Amari Rodgers that really got me, the narrative immediately got shifted to Aaron Rodgers doesn't like him. Okay. So let me paint you a picture here real quick. I'm a Kentucky fan. You guys know that, right? That's one of my favorite college teams. So T. Martin, you guys remember a guy named T. Martin, right? T. Martin won a national title, if I remember correctly, with the University of Tennessee. Okay. Then T. Martin goes on to coach at Kentucky as an assistant. Well, Kentucky recruits Randall Cobb, all right? And Randall Cobb and T. Martin become really, really close, right? So if I remember correctly, T. Martin's son is Amari Rodgers, and Randall Cobb is actually Amari Rodgers' godfather. Okay? That's the way I understand the story. So when we drafted Amari Rodgers, he's supposed to be this dynamic slot receiver, punt returner, all those things, Randall Cobb 2.0. And then we go and get Randall Cobb from Houston or wherever he was at the time. It wasn't just Aaron Rodgers wants Randall Cobb, and immediately the narrative got shifted to that.
Yeah.
It was that, hey, let's go get Randall Cobb to help mentor Amari Rodgers, who's going to be this great young player. That's what the coaching staff thought, that he was going to be great. No two ways about it. And you bring them in here together, and we can kind of mold him to be that next Randall Cobb. And all of a sudden the narrative gets, well, Aaron Rodgers hates Amari Rodgers. That's why he got cut. Aaron Rodgers is the godfather to Randall Cobb's kids. So you think that Aaron Rodgers hates Amari Rodgers? Like, that wasn't the case. Now, as far as the punt returning, Amari Rodgers from day one in the NFL sucked at punt returning. And we kept marching him out there. I felt bad for the dude, Tim. I was like, can we not just let him focus on being a slot receiver, and then maybe the special teams will come along? Like, because this isn't working. Everybody knows it isn't working, right? But I hated that narrative got drew up that Aaron Rodgers hates Amari Rodgers. And it was just like, bro, you guys have no idea about the background here. Like, there's no way that that's true. And finally, we made the call and cut them, and kudos to getting rid of them, because it did not work out. And listen, that whole experiment, hindsight 2020, Amari Rodgers and Randall Cobb and kind of mentor and stuff, it did not work, right? I agree. But that was the thinking, I think, behind all that. So, but yeah, they stuck with him too long. And you say Myers is a bust too. It depends on what you mean by bust. Is he a true second-round talent? I don't believe he has lived up to that. I don't. I think he is probably an above. I would say he's an average center. I don't think Josh Myers is a horrible football player, but with what we're asking him to do, it's obvious it's not a fit. I think he will hit the market. And because of his pass blocking ability, ironically, he was horrible as far as the grade this week. He got his ass kicked all day long. But I think he will get some pretty decent money on the market. Tim, I don't know how you feel. I hope we don't re-sign him to top center money. That will make me really question what the heck are we doing. But
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to do that. And I agree with the sentiment that he's not terrible, in the words of Charles Barkley, but certainly, yeah, average to maybe slightly below average with some of the output that we're getting from him. But again, the guy's I don't know. The guy's a stud sometimes, you know. You love the passion he plays with. I mean, we went through this with JRJ last year, right? You know, John Runyon was a guy that loved to be a Packer, and we loved him in the locker room. Wasn't getting it quite done on the field. You know, had to let him go. We had to make that move. I think we're going to start to see the writing on the wall with Josh in the same respect. But center is tricky, man. You know, it's I almost think that's one of those spots where you're looking at maybe bring a veteran guy in, maybe look at free agency, maybe see what you can do. to bring someone with experience in, because it hasn't worked very well. The draft and develop, approach that we've taken doesn't seem to work well on the O-line all the time. We've gotten lucky with a few guys like Elton Jenkins and, Zach Tom, but, at center, man, that's an important position. And I don't know, swing and a miss with Josh so far, but I love the way he plays the game, though, and approaches the game, the type of teammate he is. But the execution isn't always there, and it sucks.
Yeah, and again, it's just that it's a really bad year to have to go through the personal stuff too, because you're in a contract, and that's why my heart goes out to him as a human being, But as a fan, and if I'm building the roster, you got to remove all the emotion. I'm looking up going, we got to find us a center, boys. And if Elton is the center, all right, cool. We'll add another piece or two to the offensive line as far as depth and see if one of those guys emerges the next Zach Tom, Rasheed Walker, which, by the way, Rasheed Walker, I know he's not perfect, but damn, your left tackle is a 7th-round pick, and he's one of the best pass blockers in the league. I'm sorry. I can handle that. Great job there, right? Fred McFarley in the chat says T. Martin was drafted ahead of Tom Brady the year they came out. T. Martin was highly touted, man. Again, I'm pretty sure he won a national championship with Tennessee that year. That's a perfect example of, again, Belichick, everybody else falling in love with the T. Martins. I think there was, six other quarterbacks taken before Tom Brady that year. And you never know what a player's got in them until they've got an opportunity, obviously. Cody in the chat says, imagine what Bobby Wagner's leadership would have added. And that's another thing that we really didn't talk about. You can't put a price tag on that stuff. You can't. But again, it would be going against the MO of the Packers if you did go out and sign a veteran that old, right? It's rare you do that. I was in favor of it, though, for the right price. And if I remember correctly, though, Tim, to be fair, I don't want to sound like we're the smartest guys in the room, but I do remember when he did get signed, we were going, whoa, I don't know if I'd have paid that much, right? He did get paid significantly more. And
adding Bobby Wagner would have been a Band-Aid, right? A 1 or 2 year Band-Aid tops. So it doesn't really fix a problem, but I would have loved to see him in green and gold. One of my favorite linebackers of all time, for sure.
Yeah. Coach Lynn, good to see you, buddy. He says, Quay is getting another contract. Get used to it, Packer fans. Coach, if you made me bet today, is Quay Walker going to get re-signed?
Yep.
I would probably lean toward yeah. And I'm not saying I agree with it. It depends on the price. You guys know how I feel. Do you want to re-sign this player, Clayton? Hell yeah, for the right price. The answer is always at the right price. But when you talk about him getting re-signed, if you made me bet one way or another, and listen, it's not like 80-20, but probably 55 or 60%, I think the Packers probably will re-sign Quay. So I could see where you would come up with that for sure. J. Cole in the chat, Myers is going to get paid this offseason, no doubt about it, man, because teams fall in love with that athleticism, man, and he's a freak when it comes to the center position, no doubt. Fred McFarley also said Bobby Wagner's getting a gold jacket. Yes, he is. Just a matter of time, man.
Absolutely.
So Holmes here pointing out the pass blocking grade has gotten better for Josh Myers in this last game. It was 0, and it's up to a 13.2 now. So and here's the tough part about that is when you look at a player, it's not just is he good or bad, it's what can he do well. That's how coaches and evaluators look at what can he contribute to the team. Don't tell me what he does bad. I want to know what does he do good. And pass blocking is what Josh Myers does good. So to see him regress that bad this last game against Detroit was really tough. And again, Emilio pointed out, and a great job by him. He does a great job listening to pressers and getting a little bit of insight. He had pointed out that we were getting to the line too late with the snap count, with the silent count, right? So they were pretty much picking the split second we were going to snap the ball, and we adjusted and things got easier as the game went on. And if you're one of those people that says, well, that's on LaFleur, he didn't have the guys ready, I completely understand that. You would think that should be prevented, right out of the gate. But that played a big role into Myers getting his butt handed to him all day long with the pass block grade. But yeah, it was bad. It was real bad, man. Let's see. Here you go. Romero Hill in the chat says, question, who is our leader on the defense? No one is very vocal. I'm glad no one's overly vocal, me personally, because I don't think that works. You guys remember Mike Daniels? Mike Daniels is that dude that's just constantly running that mouth, and the defense sucked year in and year out. It's like, right,
reminds you of Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
Another vocal dude.
as far as being vocal on defense, if you were to say who's the most vocal on defense, it's definitely Jair Alexander. Now, I'm not saying he's a leader. You didn't hear that from me. I didn't say he's a vocal leader, but he is the guy that talks a lot, right? You heard him before he got hurt. He was the one always in the locker room, as they wrapped up and stuff. To me, the leader on that defense, though, is McKinney. He's got pelts on the wall. He's got current credibility, what you call current credibility with success he's having in the league right now. It would be McKinney and Kenny Clark. And now that Kenny Clark had a good game, that helps. You got a little bit of current credibility, right? Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Ben Fennell tweeted this out. I thought this was really cool, and hopefully you guys can see this okay. But he tweeted out just kind of a little – let me zoom it in here a little bit highlight reel here of Kenny Clark from the game. I'm just going to let it roll and read what he says here, and he's got them highlighted for you. Kenny Clark was awesome last night versus Detroit's offensive line. Most of the front seven played well versus the run. Defensive line was stout. Linebackers were fast. Safeties filled from depth aggressively. A lot of nice stuff on film. Lions had 23 rush attempts go for 3 or less yards. So the run defense, to me, played really well against Detroit. You could tell it's a perfect example of you got to pick your spots. All right, what are you going to stop this game? You could tell the Packers' game plan was, let's stop the run and make them beat us with the pass. And then when you're stopping the run and you're being overly aggressive with those front seven, that opens up the dig behind you, the crossers, all those things. So, but you can see Kenny here. This is what we've been looking for, And Kobe Wooden's another one that impressed me.
Yeah.
A couple of really good snaps where he beat Ragnow like a damn drum. I was like, and Ragnow is arguably the best center in the game right now. He and Creed Humphrey are right there in the top 3 for sure. But with Kenny here, man, this was good to see, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like Romero's point here, it's twofold, right? Are we talking vocal as far as like, talking trash? Because we've got plenty of those guys. We got Keyshawn Nixon. We got Carrington Valentine. There. You mentioned Jair. There's no shortage of guys that'll chirp and get in guys' ears. But I think the other side of it is vocal leader as far as pre-snap communication, post-snap communication. After the play, somebody misses an assignment or something, who's going over and, giving that guy an earful and communicating and being a leader. I think there are two different ways to look at it. But I would agree. I think up front, it's Kenny Clark is our leader. On the back end, it's Xavier McKinney. And in the middle, hate it or love it, it's, Quay Walker. So that's the formula. And, keep in mind, we're not 100% healthy on defense. Nobody is in this league. So it's tough to get consistency when you have to rotate different guys in and you lose a guy like Jair for an extended period of time. Yeah, you're going to see your defense change the way it plays out there. It's not even about X's and O's. It's about your personnel and how they're communicating on the field.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So just wanted to highlight real quick there the play of Kenny Clark. And Ben Fennell's one of the best at breaking down a tape as far as covering the Packers from time to time. Really, really good. And the fact that he's seen it too is absolutely awesome. So, as far as the vocal leader, communication-wise, it's the guy with the green dots, Quay Walker, right now in the middle. He's the one doing the majority of the communicating. Not that X isn't making adjustments too, but when you say leader on the defense, hands down, it's Xavier McKinney for me. That's the dude that you need to build this defense around. And I'm so excited that they finally went out and spent money on a post safety. First time they've done that since they brought in like Adrian Amos and those other guys. You bring in 2 edge rushers and Adrian Amos. Now, Amos was more of a box safety. Obviously, he could play post, but he played a lot of box. The fact that you went and got that, okay, that piece is in place now, right? You've got an edge rusher in Rashawn Gary, and you got these other guys that are trying to, get their footing. And I feel like LVN is like we say, growth is not linear, like talking about in the NFL. With LVN, you're getting a lot of ups and downs, but you're starting to trend up, right? Like you're seeing that up and to the right improvement from LVN. And if it continues, then okay, you got your edge defender. If Kenny continues to play well, then all right, for the time being, you're good, but it doesn't mean you stop swinging. You got to find the next 3 tech. Remember what we kind of opened the show with. How did Belichick build that defensive line? He had a Richard Seymour. He didn't go, we got Richard Seymour, we're good. 3 tech is so damn important that you continue to find the next one and continue to find the next one. And that's what he did with Wilfork, and then Wilfork stepped right into that role. And I'm trying to remember, it might have been Lawrence Guy that used to play here in Green Bay.
Here's a guy.
Yeah, that they picked up, and he ended up kind of taking Wilfork's place when he went to Houston. So you just got to constantly be looking for a 3-tech. Again, those tier 1 positions of importance. 3-tech, edge on defense, left tackle, quarterback. Here's what's awesome. We've got that on offense, and on defense, we need to try to find the next 3-tech because Kenny has not played well this year, albeit he played his best game yesterday, in my opinion, or whatever day it is. What is today? Saturday, 2 days ago. That late night got me, man. I'm gonna say. So you just got to keep looking for that 3-tech, and you taking enough swings at edge, in my opinion, right now. Don't continue doing that. Put your focus at 3-tech, and you took another swing at 3-tech with Devontae Wyatt. To me, he is not the guy. Now, maybe he'll change my mind in the next 4 weeks, and we go, all right, Devontae Wyatt's the dude. But based off what we've seen right now, man, it's just it's tough sledding for me. So, let's see here.
There's going to be a lot of looking at that D-line in the offseason, I think. TJ Slaton's another dude. Big question mark around him. I don't know which way they're going to go. Yeah, it's tough, but I agree. I think we've put enough into the edge rushers. We need to start looking at some big dogs on that D line.
And people forget too, Carl Brooks flashed more than Kobe Wooden, but Kobe Wooden, if I remember correctly, was a higher draft pick than Carl Brooks, right?
Yep.
And then Kobe Wooden's been banged up all year. And then he comes in the game and you kind of seen it flash. Coach Lynn said, good point, Clayton Wooden flashed for sure. Dude, he beat Ragnow on that play. It was a run play. Snap, punch, swim. I mean, threw Ragnow down like a rag doll, no pun intended, and then got in there for like a tackle for a loss. It definitely made chalk talk. I'm almost positive it did.
The thing with these young players, though, that we have to remember, because we say this about a lot of guys, right? They flash. It's a fine line between, flashing and trending upward and becoming a great player in the NFL and being a flash in the pan. Like we've seen a lot of these guys flash in the pan, and then for some reason we hang on to them. We hang on to them a little too long, But I think Kobe Wooden is a guy that, could contribute, maybe rotational guy. I don't know if he's going to be that dude. Same thing with Carl Brooks. I love Carl Brooks. You want to see consistency. You want to see constant flashing,
right?
Not just here and there, and then we sign an extension and you get a middle of the road guy, and that you don't want to give up. We got to get away from that.
Yeah, definitely. And that Kobe Wooden play we're talking about makes chalk talk. First quarter, 1:17 left. You guys remember all week long when we were prepping for the Lions, I kept saying they'll run on 3rd and long. It'll be 3rd and 8. It'll be 3rd and 6. They'll run the football because they plan on going for it on 4th down. That was a 3rd and 5 play from their own 26-yard line in the first quarter, and Kobe Wooden blew it up for a loss. Huge play there on 3rd down by Kobe. So excited to see more of him for sure. Let's see, Nick explained in the chat, said, now that the Packers have been doing good on run defense, everyone's mad about their getting passed on. Again, it goes with what we were talking about, Nick. You can't stop everything. There's not a defense that just covers it. If there is, call that defense every play.
We'll keep getting lit up over the middle. Then we take care of the middle of the field, and we're getting lit up over the top. It's football. That's what happens, right?
Yep. And again, it comes down to the players.
Yeah.
Like, you got to put your guys in a position to do what they do well, but also you've got to know the strength of your defense and say, okay, here's the strength. Let's take resources away from it, so because they'll give us the best shot at holding their own, and put those resources somewhere else. We chose stop the run, and that opened up the pass. And then the extra wrinkle that Ben Johnson threw in was the play action screen. I'm telling you, it's huge. Because we haven't seen that all year. We haven't seen a team consistently run play action to the running back, set up, and then dump the screen to the running back. That's one of those things that think of it as a defensive lineman and a linebacker. Ball's snapped, they're running. Oh, crap, they're passing. No, they ain't. It's a screen. And now they got a +2 hat count on you, and everybody's on their heels. Ben Johnson caught a hell of a game, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. So, But I'm with you, Nick. It's tough, man. Watching everybody freak out over it. Coach Lynn said, can't wait to get Musgrave, Lloyd, Morgan, and Cooper back. Amen, man. A little more depth at offensive line with Morgan. Let's see if Musgrave can get out and actually, up his game this year. Now he's going to be rusty, so I'm kind of curbing the enthusiasm around Musgrave. That's just me personally. Marshawn Lloyd, running back, is definitely a position that it's not like you got to be all fine-tuned with the playbook and everything. It's listen. Know your protections, know the calls, and he's been in the room all year long studying that stuff. It's just get him out there healthy and let him add a little something extra to our running game. I think he's going to be a great compliment to Josh Jacobs, Emmanuel Wilson, and Chris Brooks, who I think have all done a phenomenal job. Edgerrin Cooper getting back is going to be huge. Yes. I mean, think of how many plays that guy made early in the year, Tim. I mean, the Jacksonville game with the forced fumble, the strip sack, the scoop on the fumble where Keyshawn sacked Sam Darnold. He is one of, if not the most athletic players on the field when he's on the field. So
for sure, I think Coop can play anywhere, inside, outside. Versatile dude, and clearly probably the between him and Evan Williams, I think our best draft picks for sure.
Yeah. Fred McFarley, thank you so much for looking that up, buddy. I was correct there. Kobe Wooden, pick 116, and Carl Brooks was pick 179 in the draft. I thought that was the case, but Carl flashed sooner. And sometimes that happens, right? But someone else will have a higher upside, and they'll pass them up. I like both of them as depth on the defensive line, but hell, if Kobe Wooden is going to be that dude to step up, so be it. He could be the future 3-tech. We haven't seen enough of him, right?
Yep.
So hopefully that's the case. Cody says Wooden has that dog in him. He does, man. I don't know if you guys seen it, but when he made that tackle for a loss, if I remember correctly, he made a gesture of take me out type thing. And he was being funny because it was third down. Like, they don't need me. Get me off the field. Like, there you go. They're done this drive, right? It was something along those lines, but you could tell he's definitely gotten stronger. He seems like he's gotten quicker, at least from that game. If it had been anybody other than Ragnow, if it had been just an average center, I'd go, all right, let's curb the enthusiasm. But when you win a rep or two against one of the best in the game, then it really says a lot. So,
yep.
Prince in the chat says maybe we can get an injury update on Bullard today. I was going to show something on Rasheed Walker. I'll come back to it, but I want to show you guys this. And it's nothing like overly squeamish, and I think it is important to try to understand. If I understood correctly, this was the play that he got hurt on. Okay, I better not go full screen for obvious reasons. But this was, shout out to at DRASECOLEE. All right, they're the ones who tweeted this video out. I think this was the play. It says appears to be non-contact, just kind of catches the turf. And of course, I put these soft ass teams in their precious dome/turf. How many times are we going to watch this? And before we listen to David Bakhtiari and actually get grass out there. But here's the play. You'll see Bullard up here to the right there. There it is. That's not a good look, Tim. Again, let's see if we can play it in slow motion. This might help here. Let's go 50%. So look for Bullard to come off the screen here. Okay, off screen. He's going to run into the right here. Now watch.
When he plants, yeah.
There.
Boom.
Yeah, that don't look good, guys. And again, I don't want to get hit with anything here, so we'll get it off the screen. But I just want to point that out since you brung it up. Prince says maybe we get an injury update on Bullard today. I assume Williams is in concussion protocol. All of a sudden, we're pretty banged up at safety. There's no two ways about it. But I will say this. Zane Anderson, tip your cap.
Here's a guy.
That dude he played good, man. I didn't realize he played 50-some snaps, Tim. That blew me away.
And fearless too. I like him throwing his body all over the place. That's what you need when you got a guy coming in trying to fill a void, right? You want a guy to play with his hair on fire and try and contribute. And Zane Anderson, that is a real dude.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I'm trying to be positive, but my gut's telling me Bullard's done. He's done for the year. And hey,
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
No, I'm not a doctor, but
it's late, man. It's late in the year, Tim.
Yeah, it's late in the year. It doesn't look good. Yeah. So come on, Zane. Pick us up, Zane. Let's go.
Next man up, man.
Same thing at corner, right? We don't know what the heck's going on. I'm ready for Rob Rochelle. I'm ready for somebody to step up and contribute,
Yeah, definitely. Dove Kleiman tweeted this out, and it's just kind of a compilation video of Rasheed Walker and what we talked about. Look at Sheed throwing my man out the club.
Oh, this is the highlight of the game right here, man.
Absolutely love
He
it.
said, "You're not on the guest list. Get out of here."
There were people, too, that said, have we ever seen anyone use the Reggie White club move on offensive line?
I don't know. You talk about guys with the dog in them. There's another one right there, Rasheed Walker, man. That dude
absolutely annihilated him.
That dude looks like the coolest guy ever to hang around with, and you want to be friends with him. Seems like a really easygoing, cool dude. And but when he puts the pads and the helmet on, that's Mr. Nice Guy is gone, and this is what you get.
And the thing I love about it too is we talk about how good of a pass blocker he is. This is a run play, guys. He just knows this is going to be an ISO play in the middle.
We just show that on loop all day, man.
Oh no, man! It's listen, there's no reason for me to go out here and try to block this guy. I'm just not going to let him inside. Oh, you want to play? Okay.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. Get out of the club.
Hit him with the old
sit your butt outside.
That's exactly right. So, again, Rasheed Walker playing pretty darn good football, no doubt about it. Also, I want to point this out on Twitter. Shawn Michaels actually commented, all right, I got to be careful with this. Yep, I got to be real careful. So, I don't know if you guys seen, but Tucker Kraft did the old Shawn Michaels jump up, right? You guys remember that? Let me get it off the screen. So, Shawn Michaels quote tweeted it and put 10 out of a possible 10. So, we got former wrestlers commenting on Tucker Kraft in the NFL. You absolutely love to see it, man. Tucker Kraft.
Norris likes wrestling. He might have picked that up somewhere, right?
Exactly. And then PFF Green Bay Packers put this out. We kind of hit on it yesterday. The highest graded Packers in Week 14 versus the Lions. We like to do all the PFF grades, and then the next day, quick recap. Here were the top performers. Here's who showed up against the Lions. Jordan Love, 83.8. Kenny Clark, 80.1. Dontavion Wicks, 78.6, Keyshawn Nixon, 76.4, and Devontae Wyatt, a 73.9. So Wyatt did score good there, minimum of 25 snaps. I know somebody in the chat was saying, I feel like we haven't heard from Wyatt much. It seems like he's not getting as many snaps, but I could be wrong. There was one point, too, I noticed. They had Carl Brooks, Kobe Wooden, J.J. Enagbare, and, God, who was the other guy? 53. Aaron Mosby.
Mosby,
right. Yeah, Mosby's 50, I think. So I looked at that defensive line. I went, damn, like all the backups are in right now. And this was like late in the third quarter, and ball snapped. I went, okay, they looked fine. You know what I mean? They were holding their own. So you're getting a little bit more rotation there maybe. I haven't looked at the snap count. That's what it felt like to me too. But again, Tim, these five players here, man, showing up and showing out against the Lions. Jordan Love, 83.8, continuing to improve every week. Man, if he gets hot, again, the most important positions on offense, quarterback and left tackle, right? Both of those are playing some of their best football right now, in my opinion. On defense, it's 3-tech and edge. Gary with another sack, leading the team with pressures. Kenny Clark gets his highest graded game. Your tier 1 positions right now are playing the best football they played all year, in my opinion. So you're starting to – I know we lost, don't get me wrong. You're starting to ramp up. We could go on a run here, man.
Yeah, and don't look now, Tay Wicks haters, but somebody graded pretty well, and somebody's starting to step it up. And perfect time, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
going to be exciting to see this offense too once we get Rome back and kind of get back to where we're used to being with our personnel. But man, Tay Wicks really stepped up in this game.
Cam in the chat, good to see you, buddy. He says, we covered the refs yet? He just came in. Oh, my God. Ron says, LOL, Cam, extensively for 2 days. He said, heard. So we're going to try to move on from the ref talk.
I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
Hilarious. All right. So, again, those are your top PFF performers, as we talked about. We already hit on the injury there to Javon Bullard, so we're all caught up on Twitter. Let's see. We're at the hour 14 mark. You got a little bit of time here. Let's see, around the league. And let's do this, Tim. Let's look at the standings real quick. We've got them updated. Obviously, we got a full slate of games tomorrow and probably on Monday night as well. There'll be a game. But when we look at the standings currently in the NFC, and I love that, again, shout out to Aaron Rodgers, our Aaron Rodgers, not the Aaron Rodgers. for turning us on to this playoff simulator machine with ESPN because it's really, really coming in handy. This is no surprise to us, right? We talked about, hey, if they lose to the Lions, nothing changes. You're still a 6 seed. You'll actually have a 2-game lead, I believe it is, going into Sunday. Obviously, we'll see how these other games shake out. But currently,
I think the only thing that changed is we're mathematically out of the race for the division, correct?
Bingo. Yeah. I mean, it might not be completely out, but it's close, right? As the Lions have pretty much clinched a playoff berth up to this point. I think that's what the X means, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they clinched for sure.
So the Lions are the 1 seed, Philly the 2 seed at 10-2, 3 seeds the Seahawks, who we've got coming up this week. The Falcons are the 4 seed at 6-6. Vikings are the 5 seed at 10-2. We are the 6 seed at 9-4, and the Washington Commanders are the 7 seed at 8-5. So the other teams that are trying to fight for one of those final 2 playoff spots there in the wild card are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 6-6, the Arizona Cardinals at 6-6, and the LA Rams at 6-6. After that, you got the 49ers and the Cowboys both at 5-7. So they would have to do miraculous things, obviously, to make the playoffs. So Packers are in a good spot. Listen, I want them to win out, but if we're being honest, they're probably not going to win out. You know, the numbers suggest we're not going to win out. All right. But let's look at the remaining schedule now that we're sitting at 9-4 and kind of look at, all right, what do we got coming up? We got at the Seahawks. That's going to be another one. That's going to be Sunday Night Football this week. And then the following week, we've got the New Orleans Saints at Lambeau for Monday Night Football. Then you're at Minnesota for a 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox. And then to be determined on the time is the Chicago Bears, which is going to be a flex game. That's week 18. So if you're sitting at 9 wins right now, and, you know, we've talked about that win range for the beginning of the season. I said 10 to 13 wins. We kind of settled in on 12 is looking like what it's probably going to be. You'd have to win 3 of these next 4 to finish with 12 wins. I think it's definitely doable. But it feels like to me, based off the way the standings are, if you win 11, you're in the playoffs. That's what it really feels like. So we just need to win 2 of these to get in the playoffs. I feel very, very comfortable saying 11 wins will get us in. At Seattle, that's not going to be a slam dunk win, guys. It's a tough place to play, and they're a pretty damn good football team this year, man. They've been up and down, but you can see their record as they're sitting at 7-5. I mean, it is what it is. They have let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have the 6th best record in the NFC. Okay, so they're a legit top 5 team, borderline top 5 team in the National Football Conference. So it's not going to be a slam dunk, but again, going to Seattle should be a fun one there, Tim, as it's going to be like I said, a 7:20 Lambeau time kickoff, and it's going to be in Seattle on the West Coast. Probably going to be rainy like it always is out there. So got to be prepared for that.
It will be loud. It will be loud. Communication will be an issue on that field. Yep. So, and, you know, hey, it's a good thing then, right? You know, we just played in that environment in Detroit. Now we got to go and deal with it again in Seattle. So these guys should be no stranger to this. And, you know, get to come back home against the Saints, which is good. But, yeah, man, Seattle is notorious for being one of the louder places to play. Those fans, no joke, man. So we got to bring it. We got to bring it. And you're right. Seattle is not their record is not an indicator of the type of team they are. You know what I mean? They're definitely ups and downs like all of us, but you cannot take them for granted at all.
Yeah. Cody in the chat said, Tim, he says, y'all talking playoffs? I'm just trying to win a game, another game. Yeah. So
playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game, another game.
He nailed it, didn't he? Good job, Cody. We need to send you a coffee mug or something, bro. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. So again, Seattle coming up. Let's do this before we wrap up here. Let's do a quick look at the playoff simulator. Okay. So let's go through this week. Let's make sure everything's cleared off. Let's talk best case scenario for the Packers first. Okay. Let's be positive here. And again, you help me out here, Tim. The Giants are the worst team in the league. So we're going to pick a Giants win over the Saints. All right. Atlanta and Minnesota. I imagine we would want Atlanta to win that game in case we could climb up in our seeding, right? So seeing that the Atlanta Falcons are 6-6, yeah, so let's go Atlanta there. LA or the Las Vegas. I always want to say LA. I want to say Oakland too. The Vegas Raiders at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, we want the Raiders to win that game.
The Raiders.
Carolina Panthers at the Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, there's some fans. Justin, shout out to Justin, Packernet Podcast graphics guy. Sent me an article talking about how there's some funky stuff going on with the gambling. Somebody put a huge bet on I can't remember if it was on Philly or whatever. So there's these rumors going around that they think Carolina's going to upset Philly. I hope that's the case. Probably not going to happen. But for this exercise, we're going to click on the Carolina Panthers to win because that would help us the most, right? The next game that would apply would be the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Tim, if we flash this back up, who would you rather win here, Seahawks or Cardinals? Seahawks are at 7-5, and the Cardinals are at 6-6. I think we would want the Cardinals to win that game, right?
Yeah, but they're not. They're not going to win.
But we're going to do it right here, right?
Yeah. Wishful thinking. Let's go. Mr. Xbox and the boys get the victory.
You're still pissed off about that Bears game, ain't you? Oh, no, the Vikings game. The Vikings game.
Yeah.
They should have won that game. So anyway, let's say the Bills beat the Rams. Let's say the Bears beat the Niners because the Bears are, further down the standings than the Niners, obviously. And then we'll say the Bengals beat the Cowboys. So best case scenario for the Green Bay Packers with this loss in Detroit is the Packers are still the 6th seed, all right, sitting at 9-4, and they would be one game behind the Minnesota Vikings, right? Let me actually see if this changes in real time. I think it does. It does. Okay, cool. So, yeah, we would be one game behind the Minnesota Vikings to climb up one seed. All right, so worst case scenario, that would put you in a position where who are the next teams in line? Tampa. So let's look at Washington, Tampa, Arizona, right?
Playoffs? Don't talk.
So Washington now on this chart will be 8-5, so they would be one game behind us now. It's getting a lot closer, right? So if we slide
we want
down,
to avoid that 7 seed like the plague, man. We want the 5 or the 6 seed this year for sure.
Man,
and I can tell Lincoln and Etta agree.
They're not happy. I said, listen, if we fall to the 7th seed, and they lost their mind, so they're not happy with that. That's actually my brother's dog down there. It's probably Mandy. Mandy's in Florida shopping, having packages delivered here on the front porch, and it's interfering with my podcast. Hilarious, right? So I apologize for the barking. Just deal with it for a couple more seconds. So Washington, the 8-5, obviously that puts them a little bit closer to us, and then those other teams that we talked about, like Arizona being 6-6, Seattle, they would be kind of competing with each other. Los Angeles, you still have a 2-game lead, right? You pretty much have a 2-game lead, even if that's if everything kind of went our way. Let's do one quick mock of what if things go terribly wrong here this weekend and everything went against the Packers, right? So let's say the Saints won. Let's say the Vikings won. Let's say Tampa won. Let's say Philly won. Let's say that the Seahawks won. The Rams won. The Niners won. And the Cowboys won. If that happened, we are still in the 6th seed. Nothing changes in that regard. But now that race gets tightened up just a little bit more, obviously, right? And did we pick the Commanders? We did, didn't we? Are they even on here? They're not on here. They in a bye?
They might be in a bye week.
Is there a bye this late in the year?
Yeah, that's crazy. Is there a bye this late in the year?
Am I overlooking the Commanders here? They're not on there, right? Huh. Nope. It usually will tell you if there's a bye, but I guess it didn't. Somebody help us in the chat here, man. Is there a bye week this week for the Commanders? Is there any bye weeks this week? That's crazy if it's late, right?
Wow. Fred McFarley.
A week 14 bye? What's the NFL smoking? That's crazy.
Here's a bye.
Anyway, yeah, that's how that's going to shake out. So the way that sits, worst case scenario, Green Bay seeding does not change, guys. 6 seed. So, again, I'm not saying you go out there and go, all right, guys, let's lose this game. That's not what I'm saying at all.
No, not at all.
I'm saying it's not the end of the world if they don't win out there in Seattle as we look at the schedule again. But, again, I think you got to win these. You got to win 2 of these next 4, and you feel good about making the playoffs, right? Feel real good anyway, but I'd like to see them win out or at least win 3 of them. That would be fun to get to that 12-win mark, obviously. Yeah, at Seattle, New Orleans, at Lambeau, then at Minnesota, then Chicago at home. I want that Minnesota game bad, man. I think we can go for that ass. I do.
Me too. I'm tired of losing to divisional opponents. Tired of it.
Yeah.
I hope we take care of business here to finish the year on a strong note, you know?
Yeah, completely agree, man. All right, guys, that's going to do it. We went over a little bit. That's all right. Tim, appreciate you jumping in here, man. Sorry you had to get up early. But
all good.
Appreciate you taking time. And you come in as late as you want because, like I said, man, it's a volunteer army, and it's always fun talking ball with you, bro.
Thanks for having me, Clay. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, guys, that'll do it. We'll be back tonight, PTA Live at 7 p.m. We're going to be doing Chalk Talk. I got a lot of work to do. Lord have mercy. I've got the clips cut.
You got it narrowed down to 475 plays.
Now what I got to do is go into the editor and add the text on the screen of what the play is, all that. So that's the tough part. But yeah. Nick McSwain said this show sucked. Hit the like button. Hit the like button if this show sucked, guys. Appreciate you. Brett McFarley, thanks, Clayton. I appreciate you, pal. Thanks for making us part of your morning, man. So, all right, we'll see y'all tonight. That's it. Everybody take care. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to go do some Christmas shopping and then get back here in time to cut this film up. So, Tim, you have a good day up there, bub.
Thanks, Clay. You too, man.
All right.
For those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. Go, Pack, go. Also, Green Ranger says, you guys always make me feel sane. Go, Pack, go. That's not saying much, bub. I'm sorry. We'll see y'all.
And we go. We out.
Bye, guys.